Okay. Can I have your attention? All right, we're going to spend the next hour. I'm going to try to keep it to an hour. Okay? I think we're broadcasting now, so why don't we get started? I'm Carolle Andrews, Chief Administrative Officer, and I see that we have a great deal of interest today in learning more about what's going on with parking. I'm going to spend a few minutes giving you a little background, sharing a few slides, but I want to devote most of the time to allow you to ask questions. Okay? We'll try to answer as many of those questions as possible. We may not be able to answer them all, but we will note those questions and provide answers to you in subsequent broadcast messages. We plan to issue a broadcast message that will include the forms that many of you have collected today, make them available to everyone else. Okay? Let me start out by saying that most of what we're talking about really relates to staff, parking. Students, residents will be addressed in a separate campaign. And then there are other types of parking situations. For example, how will we handle our own vehicles for maintenance, contractors, and all of that. I'm not going to try to address all of those different categories with you today, as well as patient and visitor parking. Okay? So we're going to focus our attention on what's happening with staff parking. Just a little background. The university has had a parking scheme. You know, at stores they have a large parking and transportation department, and have been charging students, staff across the board for parking for quite some time. The parking rules and regulations are approved by the Board of Trustees. So as we were looking at expanding our fees here, we relied obviously on those rules and regulations and the parking scheme that was already approved by the Board of Trustees. So, you know, we could stay consistent with what's already been approved. In addition to that, we work with a parking and transportation consultant, Desmond. They helped us, based on their expertise, look at other institutions, what other institutions do. They helped us validate our capacity, how many parking spaces we had, based on the number of people that needed to park, and all of those kinds of technical things. So what we propose really stems from a combination of those things, not just what the university already does. So for example, when we've gone to Area 1, Area 2, Area 3, that's what they have at stores, Area 1, Area 2, Area 3. So we're being consistent with that. In terms of coming up with our fees and pricing, I'm going to show you a slide that reflects what some other institutions are charging employees for parking. I can tell you that our objective has been all along to really minimize the level of fees that we had to charge and really keep them at levels that will allow us to pay for the new costs that we have with the parking garages and all of that. Okay? So here's an illustration of those fees. We have examples from 3 institutions: Rutgers, Yale, and the University of North Carolina. So, luckily you're not parking at Yale, because the lowest fee is $800 a year. Okay? We decided to go with a, we decided to go with a scheme that was more similar to the approach that Rutgers has in terms of scaling it based on your salary. And if you have the forms, you'll see that we've provided you the scale on the form. Okay? What have we had thus far? I think the last time there was a fee increase was in 2007. The fee charge for convenience parking was raised back then. Thus far, we've had about 800 or so individuals paying for convenience parking. And always had at least 300 people on the waiting list to pay for that convenience parking. But we had a really limited number of spaces available. So the newly proposed fees really convert. I'll take your questions once we've gone through the slides. So if you want to just hold on, okay? You can consider Area 1 fees very similar to the convenience parking fees. That'll go up just a couple of dollars per pay period. Okay. Area 2, you can see the table that's scaled by salary. So anything from 98 cents per pay period to 12-something per pay period, depending on your salary. Just so you understand how to use that scale, that's on the form that you have. Okay? You would have to know what your actual full salary is, your base salary. So let's say your salary was $40,000. You would want to multiply $40,000 by the rate, which is 0.0016. And that would tell you what the annual fee would be. If you want to know what that fee would be on a pay period basis, there are 26 pay periods. So you'd want to take that $64 and divide it by 26. So you'd see that if you had a base salary of $40,000, your pay period charge would be $2.46. Okay? Another example, if your salary was $43,253, it falls within that range, that same range of $40,000 to $44,999. So you'd still want to, find which range you fall in. Again, you multiply it by the rate. You get the annual amount. Divide that by 26, and you would know what the per pay period amount would be. And it's that per pay period amount you would want to authorize be deducted from your paycheck if you were selecting Area 2 parking. Okay? You also received the chart illustrating where the Area 1, Area 2, and the Area 3 parking areas are. Okay? If you want to hold your questions. There are other permits, as I mentioned earlier. And if you fall in any one of these categories or have a question that we're not covering, as always, please feel free to email me directly or email the parking registration mailbox and we'll get an answer back to you. Okay? Those of you who have received your forms today or those who will receive them in the broadcast, we are asking that you turn those in at these sessions that we are scheduling around campus. And if for some reason you're not able to make any one of those, after these scheduled sessions, you'll be able to come to our office and drop them in. Okay? So now we will take questions Which slide? We'll send this information out in a broadcast message, so you'll be able to have that as well. Question here.
I have several that might be of interest to everyone. My first question is, are we going to choose the lot that we want?
The areas are open. So if you have an Area 1 parking permit, you can park in any area designated as Area 1.
And I will be able to choose which one I want
Yes.
to be assigned to? Okay.
Well, we're not going to assign you to a lot. If you have an Area 1 permit, you can park in any Area 1 place.
So I will be able to choose to park in free parking when I get assigned to Area 3?
No, there's an area, Shuttle Lot 3 is designated as Area 3.
But my point is, can I park in the areas assigned to the different areas once I get the
No,
permit?
if you have
Am I going to be assigned to only a certain area?
If you have an Area 3 permit,
Correct.
you can only park in Area 3.
And what if you tell me I'm in Area 2 and I want to be in Area 1 is my question. I know, but do I have that option?
Yes, when you fill out the form, you
put down.
designate whether you want to be 1 or 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other question is it...
Excuse me, can we, one at a time?
Is this going to be prorated for part-timers?
The point of having the base salary is its base salary. If you are in a position that pays $50,000, but you're half-time,
Correct.
You're paying, your base salary is half, so you are paying less.
Okay. Okay. What about people who are on leave of absence, FMLAs? Are they still going to be continued to be charged?
Sure, just like you do today.
Okay. And my last question is, are all employees, including physicians and administration, paying for parking?
Yes, everyone will
Based
be
on salary?
required, unless they're picking Area 1. Area 1 is a flat rate, $400.
Thank you.
Question here, and then we'll go to the back.
Hi, I'm currently parking in Area 1, and I pay approximately $335 a year to park there as convenience parking. I've been an employee here for 39 years.
I don't know if they can hear you.
That's okay. Can you hear me?
I can.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I currently park in Area 1 convenience parking. I pay approximately $335 a year. I've been an employee here for 39 years. I have not always paid for parking. It's been a convenience to me. It's been extended to me for the last 10 years approximately. So when I write down on this form here, I'd like to be considered again for Area 1 parking. What's the process in determining who gets Area 1, 2, and 3?
If you request Area 1, you will probably get Area 1. We have sufficient spaces. Okay. Next question. Let's go to the back. They've been waiting a while.
Hi, I have a few comments and several questions. You say you wanted to compare.
Do you want to come forward?
No.
I mean, well, speak up because we want people who are not here in person and watching on the computer, listening on the computer to hear you.
You wanted to compare us to every other place, but I want to know if you're going to compare UConn to stores or to any other place, then I want apples to apples, meaning that what is their parking situation, because we have never, as a university, had enough of parking for any of us. So now when you say this, and many of us come to work 20, 30, 40 minutes earlier to try and get parking, I want to know that now you're going to charge us all this money. Are you absolutely guaranteeing that we are going to get parking?
You will have a parking space. It will not necessarily be where you prefer, but...
So how are you handling this?
No, I can't guarantee you can park where you want to park. I can guarantee you will have a place to park.
You're guaranteeing us, no matter what time we get here, that we will have a space. So none of us have to come to work early anymore, 20, 30, 40 minutes early to get a parking space because we're guaranteed a space.
It depends on where you want to park.
Are we guaranteed a space when we're assigned to a lot?
I think I've answered your question.
You haven't answered it. If I pay for parking spot number one.
Wait a minute. You have another question?
If I pay for parking spot number one, am I guaranteed a spot?
Sure, you can look in the academic lots, you can look in garage 1, you can look in garage 3.
So now I have a question. So I think I'm
some
paying
people
for
have
this
characterized-
preferred.
Let me finish. Some people have characterized it as a license to hunt for a space, and at some level that is true. And you know, nowadays, if you park in academic...
That's not acceptable. You're charging us money out of our paychecks and our hard-earned money for those of us who live paycheck to paycheck and are struggling as it is, and now you're going to charge us parking and you're guaranteeing nothing.
Thank you for your comments. Let's get this lady here, please. And then we'll go over to the other side.
My question is, why are we paying in the first place? This is a state facility. We've received bonds for these buildings. Why are we paying again? As she stated, most of us here are living paycheck to paycheck. We shouldn't have to be paying again.
Can I answer your question?
Yes, that's the first question. Go ahead.
All these funds that we've received from the state are capital dollars. They pay for the construction of the buildings. They don't pay for the electricity, the maintenance. So these garages that we have built, there are costs associated with them to keep them safe, to clear the snow, to do all of that. And those are the expenses that we are trying to cover.
Those are coming out of our taxes already, right? Continued taxes that we're paying, that's coming out of our taxes. That's paying for that. Yeah, the other question is, how can you first of all go ahead and construct something? We have no say-so, we have no input in this construction of these parking garages. You can't guarantee us anything, and then you turn around and pay us and stick it to us. Here it is, you pay for it. How do you justify that?
Let's get over to the other side, give someone a chance.
My question is,
if you refuse to, then this is not a town meeting.
it's on?
I think you owe her an answer.
Well,
I think this
I think I explained why we need to charge.
My question is, why is it income-based?
I'm sorry, I can't hear
I
you.
want to know why it's income-based, because that would seem to affect your wages like it's a wage reduction. If someone drives whatever car you drive, you're going to take up the same amount of space. So in my mind, it's a pay cut, because I've been here many years. I've done the furlough, given up raises, and then for someone to say, because you make a particular pay scale, I have to pay more for parking, I find it very unfair, because my car takes up the same space as any other.
Well, if we had gone with one rate, that rate would be what we were charging for convenience parking, which means rather than someone having the opportunity to pay 98 cents per pay period because they don't earn that much, they'd be paying $400 a year like everyone else. So we just did not feel that that was necessary or fair. You need to wait your turn, okay? If you do not park where you have a permit for, you will be ticketed. Sir, you have a question.
For those of us that live close enough to walk to work, how do you handle that?
Well, if you are not parking a vehicle on campus, you don't need to purchase a permit.
Fine, thank you.
Okay, and you know, we are also, you've seen the information sessions we've planned with the Department of Transportation on the fast track and carpooling and van pooling. We're continuing to invite those people here so that we can promote other means by which you can get to work and not have to drive a car.
Hello, my name is Joan Williams, and my question is, I have the privilege of convenience parking currently. At 4 or 5 o'clock, the gate is opened, and anybody can park in that lot. Is that going to continue?
No, it will not.
Okay, thank you. And then also, some people have larger vehicles, and if they pay for parking, they may not always have a space large enough for their vehicle. How are you going to accommodate that?
We'll have to look at that. I know that some of the striping is very constrained, and there are really new rules around the amount of space that needs to be allotted, allocated. So as we repave, especially in the areas, you know, like outside the new hospital tower where those lots will clearly be redone, we're trying to take into consideration making sure there's adequate space. I know there are some lots where people complain that it's so tight that people are always hitting their car with their door, and so we're aware of that and trying to modify those situations as the opportunities present themselves. Who's got? Can you be considerate of your colleagues and not yell out?
Hi, I'm a nurse.
Yes.
I'm a nurse. If we're going to compare, like at Yale and Rutgers and everything, are we also going to compare their salaries? Because I know my salary is a lot less. It's a lot less here. I've been here for 10 years, and if I can compare my 10 year to Yale or 10 years to Rutgers, it doesn't compare.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I currently have convenience parking, and there's been a number of cases when I've come in later and there's no parking available even though I'm paying for it. Are you going to limit the number of permits for Area 1 to the number of spaces available?
Well, that's been a challenge because of the academic lots being the only. I don't know where. Are you in the main building?
Yes, and I always park in AB.
Yeah, so you're relying on the academic lots only. But imagine you can also go over to Garage 3 and you'll have access to it. So I think because there will be more spaces. We have 800 spaces for convenience. Excuse me. 800 spaces for. Do you want to allow us to have this dialogue, or you just want to continue to be rude? If you keep it up, I'm going to ask you to leave. There are 800 spaces for convenience parkers today. We'll have 2,000 Area 1 spaces. So
will you limit the number of permits to 2,000?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Will you limit the number of spaces to number of permits to 2,000 then?
We will limit the number to a little more than that because we know, based on what we've done in assigning people to spaces, we know because of the varying schedules what the capacity is. Plus, that's part of what the consulting firm helped us figure out. So there's always an overage because not everybody's here every day and that kind of thing.
But like last week, I came back. It took me a half hour to find a spot.
In the Cliff, in the center back row there, please. And then.
Hello. Carol.
And then to you. And then to you. Okay.
Carol.
Okay.
Hi. Hi. There are several departments, including the OR, PACU, and the cath lab that have people on call throughout the night. Where will they be parking when they come in? Because if they're on an outside lot, they need to get to the hospital, very quickly. So is there going to be special parking for on-call off hours?
I'm going to hold on that question because it's really a function of who that individual is and where they already have parking available, okay? So there are other provisions made for department passes. I had a question the other day from a nurse who said if she's parking in an area 2 and let's say it's not close to the building and she's, what's the term, mandated. And my response was that this is a shared responsibility. Departments will have an opportunity to have department passes if your manager is mandating you, which means, can't expect you to be going way, far down the hill. They should give you one of those department passes that would allow you to park closer. So, I appreciate the question. So we're gathering that kind of information and make sure that we've accommodated some of these situations. But, we'll have to adjust as we go too.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Back here.
First off, at Rutgers, I believe they're assigned a space. They're not given a hunting license. So, that's a problem. My question is, the lots A, B, C, D, K are listed as Area 1. My understanding is that when the construction starts outside academic, parts of A, B, and C are then going to be taken away. What % of those lots are going to be taken away for construction?
We don't believe any more spaces will be impacted than the number of spaces that are being impacted now in those lots for the construction in L. So, it's a dozen to 2 dozen at any time.
Okay, the amount of money that you're asking us to pay, are these pre-tax dollars?
I don't believe they're pre-tax dollars, no.
So we're paying and we're going to pay taxes on them again? Is that right?
They're not pre-tax dollars.
All right, so my other question is, you're asking for this money to pay for the upkeep of the lots. First of all, there's been no upkeep that I've noticed in 39 years that I've been here. Wait a minute. I am trying to say this respectfully. The fact that you built the garages, I understand there's an expense to that, but it was state dollars that paid for it. We're all Connecticut taxpayers. There's people that park in those garages. If it's paying for the garages, then the people that utilize the spaces should be paying for the garage.
Well, it's, as you point out, our lots are in need of repair as well. And so this is an opportunity for us to make sure.
But the lots that are in need of repair are in need of repair because you've got constructions, automobiles, trucks that are too heavy for the road work. Thus, you've got the potholes on the main driveway. Thus, you've got the potholes in A and B. It should be the construction company that's repairing that. When you bring cranes in there, what do you expect to happen? So you're asking us to repair the damage that these construction trucks are doing.
No, right there. Yeah.
You asked my question, but I had one smaller question about, what about the roadside parking? How is that going to be handled?
That's a good question. Can I respond? You'll notice on the chart that there are some areas that are not designated. Okay, we are in dialogue with union representatives to try to perhaps come to an understanding of what might be the best approach to even allocate the free parking. Because, this has been rapidly moving and they haven't necessarily had an opportunity to all respond or we have a dialogue, we felt it best to leave the roadways still open until we have some more clarity and can define those things better. So, excuse me, so that's the reason why those are not designated now.
Okay.
Where's the mic?
My question is for handicap individuals. Are they getting charged as well?
Yes. If a handicap individual needs to select their area for parking, and we will have handicap parking spaces available. You know, an important thing is going to be for our staff to remember that just because you have a handicap parking permit, you are not allowed to park in a patient handicap space. Okay? There's been a lot of confusion about that.
Did people, call it the rank and file, were they part of this decision? Like I understand there was like a parking committee initially. I mean, who made the decisions to do this and in this manner? How was it decided?
Well, I don't know what the this means. You know, obviously, none of our parking committees that are, you know, have full representation from staff and students and others decided that we should pay more for parking. So that is purely an economic and business decision. I'm sure it's not a mystery to you all that we face some considerable financial challenges, okay? So being able to generate revenue to pay for the cost of the garages and maintenance was really important. In terms of the scheme, you know, we bounced ideas around certain, you know, committees, and, you know, some of that's taken into consideration. One of the things, for example, is that the committees impressed upon us seriously the stickers do not work. We want hang tags so that, you know, you can move it from vehicle to vehicle. So we're definitely going back to hang tags and, you know, things like that we try to take into consideration.
I have the microphone, so I'll just ask my question. I'm sorry, I answered the first question.
Could you speak in the mic?
You answered my first question, was address the street parking, and I hope it remains free. And the spacing on that is excellent. So if you could, you know, mark that as, at least by the West Dock. I don't know where everybody else parks, but that spacing is great. And you say you guarantee everybody a parking space she did. She said you would be able to park. Can you tell me where your overflow lots are? Will you still be using 400? Are you off campus? I'm asking.
Yeah, there is no overflow.
Okay.
Okay. Now, understand that for you to park on campus, even if you have free parking, you must have a permit. So if, let's say, we say, you know, until further notice, the roads are still free, you still need to have an Area 3 permit displayed in your vehicle, or you will be ticketed. Every vehicle parked must have a permit displayed. Yes, ma'am.
I have a few questions. First of all, the majority of us are making six figures. So with all the people that are retiring that make six figures and coming back double dipping, why are we not getting their money? And why hasn't UConn been getting patients money that come here to park? Because I see you compared New Haven, Rutgers, and New Jersey. Why not compare St. Francis, Hartford Hospital?
Yeah, let me clarify that for you. I said we weren't going to talk about patient visitor parking today, but we are going to charge patients and visitors for parking. Retirees coming back to work will be charged for parking.
Yeah, but you guys should have did that years ago, then we wouldn't have this big, huge deficit that we're in now, because it's conveniently that we're all supposed to be getting raises in July, and you want to tax it in July, and that's, I mean, everybody here doesn't have two incomes.
The magic about July is that's the start of the fiscal year.
You're right, and people are just getting their raises in July, and then we have a step increase. So the more you guys see to take out, we don't see anything. I don't know about anybody else, but my gross pay is not my gross pay. It takes a lot, and everybody here does not have two incomes, and everything's going up from daycare, groceries, gas, lights. I mean, are you kidding me? You expect everybody to be happy and satisfied? I'm not satisfied.
No, I don't expect anyone to be happy about this, nor are we. We're dealing with a reality.
Well, the reality is that you guys should have thought this out a little bit more clear and inviting who you're supposed to be inviting, and don't attack us because we don't even make enough. We're barely getting by. We're behind 4 and 5 years of raises. We're way behind. But everybody up against the wall that's making 6 figures is not behind at all.
Thank you. I think there are others who have questions. So.
Okay, I have a question, actually 2. I'm waiting to hear back from 2 people I know at both Rutgers and New Haven, but Yale, the quote of $800 is wrong. They pay $600, but their salaries are $10,000 to $20,000 more than us, and that comes from a person who left here after 10 years. The nurses make $20,000 more than our nurses, and administrative, like me, $10,000 more. Yale, you could take off your thing. I'm waiting to hear back from my Rutgers contact. The next thing is, 2 years ago I bought a car. I cannot tell you the money that I put into this brand new car from parking here at UConn. My husband wants me to drive a piece of junk here to work because my car has been hit. The police have done nothing about it because the cameras don't work. That was $1,500 on a 4-day-old car. And I knew the person who hit it because I could see the damage on her car, and the police said, no, we can't accuse her, accuse her.
You know, there are a lot of people with questions about parking, so if you want to get to your question.
I'm not done. I have put more money into tires from the nails on the grounds here. That's ridiculous. I drive all over the country, and my tires don't go flat. Only here at UConn. There is a problem here. We work here. I've been here 27 years almost. I love working here. But you need to make it safe for us to park, and we should not be paying to come to work. I'm not leaving my house 45 minutes early so that I can't drive my 2 children to school and spend time with them. I'm not. If I start work at 8 o'clock, that's the time I'm starting.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Are you going to add more shuttles to accommodate the parking changes?
We just changed the shuttle routes, and we are going to continue as we have. We know that there will be some changes when the outpatient pavilion opens, because we'll be dropping off in front there, and the Dowlings, are no longer in place. So we'll continue to make adjustments. But
you're going to need to add some more shuttles in order to accommodate these changes, or people are not going to be able to come to work on time. And then we're going to get docked, and then we got to get fired, and it's going to be because of your parking changes. What are you going to do? This is our job, our livelihood. You're sitting up there, but we have to deal with this. We have to deal with the changes and everything. It's not easy for us. You want us to come to work an hour earlier to come in here and deal with this crap? It's not necessary, and it's not, you don't show any compassion for your employees. It's not a compassionate place to work. And with this attitude, people don't want to deal with this. And we shouldn't have to. And this is disgusting.
Can I take a question? We spoke yesterday by phone. My name is Ivo Kalajdzic. What I was surprised and disappointed is when you told me that this is all done deal and that we cannot do anything and any modifications to this. That was surprising to me as a faculty and also as a staff. We were not consulted on this, and now I think you will get what I don't prefer, but unions of a faculty union and a staff union involved in this, because this was not done by a proper way. So that's my comment. Now, this can be done to our satisfaction, and all this could have been done that we are more happier about this. The number 1 lots, if we work on a main campus building, and we are overflown, first, we are going to use our hunting license, we are going to waste our time around. So I'm making you a proposal, and to a company that we also likely paid some money to come up with this. Did we or we didn't?
Are you referring to the consultant?
Yes. Did we pay the consultant agency to come up with this?
Oh, they provided recommendations with regard to that.
I demand your answer. Did we pay for this or we didn't?
We paid a consulting firm.
Thank you. So this masterpiece of a consulting firm is beautiful. I will make you a suggestion that areas 1 should be divided by a location where a person works and try to accommodate this for the better need of the people who work here. That is my suggestion. We still have time. This can be postponed for 3 months. Nothing is going to happen. So please consider my suggestion. And I'm saying this. The unions are now going to get involved. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yes.
I have two concerns. Yeah. So just two concerns. Some of us work off hours and are coming out late at night, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. So I have some safety concerns about the free parking area in Lot 3. One of my questions is, are you going to provide 24-hour shuttle service to ensure my safety? And also, how many spots are in Lot 3?
There are 250 spots in Lot 3, and no, we will not be running a 24-hour shuttle service.
You can understand, I'm sure, why that's a little concerning to me. What's the university going to be doing to ensure my safety?
So one of the things that we are looking at, Lot AB, that is designated as an Area 1, we will be designating that between the hours of 5 p.m. and 8 a.m. as an Area 2 lot, so that you have the opportunity to park closer. Next question.
Go ahead.
Didn't you already have a chance?
No.
Pardon? Yeah. No, but only one of those gates is going to be up. Only one of the, from a safety standpoint, because it's a choice between running a shuttle and the cost of the shuttle, which is really expensive, or because those lots are very much empty at night anyway, taking one of them and making them available to Area 2 people at night seemed a prudent thing to do. No, I care very much, but it's a question of balance. And, the thing with balance, it's tricky. Somebody has to give so somebody else can take. And, we're trying to create a balance. Yes, sir?
Based on your little chart up there, I already have planned my schedule for the 19th of May. I'm going to be getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, hitting the road by 6 o'clock in the morning, so I can get here before 7 o'clock in the morning, so I can get to Keller Auditorium, so I can put in my application for a free parking space. Because if I have to wait until 12 noon at Munson Road, they're going to be gone. Okay?
No, the applications will go in, and then we'll let you know whether or not you were able to.
Oh, right. So it's going to be a lottery.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lottery. So you're not even guaranteed. If I'm the first one to put in my application at 7 a.m. on the 19th of May at in Keller Lobby, I am not guaranteed a free parking space.
Well, you'll recall that I said earlier that I am trying to get in. Can I finish?
Go ahead.
I am trying to get input from the unions around how we would designate and allocate the free parking spaces, because they're very limited. So, for example, if the decision is that we do it by lottery, we would take everyone who's asked for Area 3 and put you in a pool by lottery. If they determine that it's best done by seniority, then it would be done by city. We don't know yet.
Why didn't
Excuse
you
me.
ask this question before
Excuse
you
me,
came
let me
up with
finish. So we don't know exactly how we will do Area 3s.
Well, excuse me.
Sir, you have the mic. Do you have another
Yes,
question?
I have one more question. It is, well, basically it's a statement. I've been working here for almost, it'll be 28 years in June. I've never had to pay for parking. It is my intention not to pay for parking. I'm putting in my permit for Lot 3, even though it's almost, looks like over a mile away from the building that I work in. Okay? That you claim there will be no shuttle service to or from. Okay?
Overnight, I said. Overnight, we will not have shuttles.
There will be shuttle service during the day then?
Yes.
Okay, fine, thank you. My other question is, like I said, it's my intention to put in for a request for a permit for Lot 3 only.
Very good.
What is my contingent if I don't get picked?
You will either have to take public transportation, or you'll have to sign up. You'll have to sign up. You'll have to sign up for Area 2 parking.
No,
let me be clear. Excuse me. Let me be clear. If you are parking a vehicle on campus, you will need a permit, or you will be ticketed.
And this whole concept was in the best interest of UConn Health Center employees. Is that what you're trying to tell us? Or you're trying to...
if we don't pay our way, we won't be open for long. So...
You've been open for 28 years, crying foul.
Carol, I just have a quick logistical question.
Other questions? We need a mic over there. Yes, ma'am.
I just have a logistical question to tell my team. What about for the contracted employees? They won't be able to do payroll deduction, and they'll have to pay by check.
Yes.
Will they be expected to pay annually or quarterly? Has that been decided?
Well, we're looking at whether some contract employees are for a term, very fixed. You know, they're only going to be here 3 months, and we're looking at whether there's a scheme that we can have that would be fixed based on the duration.
This is for your nutrition
but we
department.
have some contract employees, like the Jacobs folks who are helping us with the construction. They might as well be employees because they're here for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll depend, and we're still evaluating all of that.
Okay, so we're not sure yet. We're not sure yet what if they're paying quarterly or annually. Okay.
My only question, I have park in the J lot, and I would like to continue to park into the J lot. Is that going to be changed?
If you select Area 2, J lot is the Area 2 lot.
But I have a hanging thing right now. Why take that?
All of those will be no longer valid. Everyone needs to re-register, and you will be issued new hang tags.
I think you're going to have some problem because people is going to...
I suspect I'm going to have some problems. Oh. Yes, sir.
My question was similar.
I'm sorry.
Why can't you still keep, even though you have Area 1, why can't you still keep people assigned to lots? My concern is it's going to be safety, because if I come in, I'm going to A lot, now there's no parking in A lot, now I'm going over to B lot, there's no parking in B lot, now I'm driving down to C lot, I'm driving to J lot, and you multiply that by 50 people in the morning, they're going to have accidents.
Yeah.
Patient safety, that's my concern.
It's a challenge. I'll tell you that, as we've been assigning people to lots, there are a lot of people that have had difficulty with that because they need to move from one location to another. And then, when the outpatient pavilion opens and somebody's going from the hospital to the outpatient pavilion, we basically said, don't you move that car. Now you have the ability and the flexibility to move around. What I think that creates, well, I mean, we'll see how that goes. And, again, if a department has a business need for you to go from point A to point B, there will be departmental passes with designated spaces that accommodate that. So, I know there's specimens that are being moved between labs, and, all kinds of things. So we're trying to take those things into consideration, and even if we don't have the answer, we're working on it. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Ellen, and I have a question. We all work in Munson Road, and that's going to be parking area number one. What is our guarantee, or is there any, that we get a parking space there?
Well, Munson, the fingers, I call them the fingers, but you know what I mean, the rows that jut out, those are area ones. Most of the lots at Munson are area two.
I'm sorry, okay. That's area one.
Well,
it's one.
the majority of spaces at Munson are area two. Okay. Did you have another question?
It doesn't really matter. So as long as we go and pay our $400
for area one.
Okay, right, for area one to park at Munson, and we get there early enough, we will be able to get a parking space. Is that true? I'm sorry? Okay. Okay. Well, I don't care about that. Okay. Okay, well, thank you.
We have one here. Yes, ma'am. So, excuse me. We'd like to hear the questions and answers, please.
So you have no plan to limit parking, and you have an area.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
So you have area 3, 250 parking spots, which is where I currently park, and you have no plan except for taking public transportation if you can't get in this lottery system. I live 30 minutes away. I get here an hour and a half before I leave my house, an hour and a half before I have to be at work, because it takes me 30 minutes to get from that lot up to where I work. But your alternative suggestion for me is that I take 2.5 hours worth of public transportation to get to Farmington, Connecticut. You're comparing us to New Haven and New Brunswick and all of these cities that have actual public transportation. There is one city bus that comes here every half an hour. That's your suggestion to me from Manchester, Connecticut.
Well, actually, there are 3 Connecticut transit lines that come to the health center. We met with Connecticut Transit just the other day, evaluating how the fast track that goes into effect next year will loop into the health center, and they have plans. Okay. If you're not going to pay, then you'll have to find a free parking space. Ma'am, you have a question.
Yes.
And then we'll come to you, okay?
Okay. When I look at my salary, I've been working with the state of Connecticut now 5 years. I was the unlucky few nurses that got hired at the time of the freeze. I look at my salary every 2 weeks and I want to cry. I work another job as well. I work at St. Francis. They charge you a one-time flat fee for your parking when you're hired. It's not taken out of my salary there for part-time every 2 weeks or every week when I work. And when I look now at the amount of money that you're supposed to take out for the elite parking that you have for Area 1, it's the same as I pay for the health insurance that the state of Connecticut gives to me. So I want to know, in all this consideration, I know you need to make money, but I pay my taxes. We are required to pay all these money. We are public servants. As state employees, we are public servants. When does it become that we are being charged? We can't live anymore. I work 2 jobs and still
I want to come here and pay for parking, and I think it's unfair and unjust, actually.
Let's get a mic over to the other side, please. Sir?
It would appear that most of the Area 3 questions are, if not answered, at least in the process of being answered over the coming weeks and months. People have asked, we have the number of spots, we don't know how, I'm betting you're going to get more than 250 applications for Area 3. You haven't determined how they're going to be assigned or how that's going to be prioritized. It might be a lottery, it might be any number of schemes. It sounds like you're saying that you've been in consultation with the unions regarding free parking. I know that.
No,
you said that.
Let me be clear. I've communicated to them, all the union presidents, and I've asked for their input if they would suggest and recommend how we might allocate the free parking. I have not gotten any responses, but my request is recent. So in fairness to them,
How recent?
I need to
I was at a union meeting last night, and they had not heard from you yet.
Well, I have not heard from all of them, but I have heard from UHP.
That was the meeting I was at last night.
Well then, I guess you'll have to check with your president.
I was sitting right behind her at the meeting last night. How are we, as the rank and file, for lack of a better term, going to be included in dialogues, dissemination of information regarding Area 3? And how, on a given day, if there are 251 people who are trying to park in Lot 3, are you going to handle the person who can't park there that day? So how are we going to be included in the dialogue? Because I think that seems to be a common theme here.
No.
And how will that scenario be handled on a given, let's say, Monday?
I can't answer that. You know, it depends on the day. It depends on the individual's circumstance. So we are engaging the unions because that's how we typically engage the larger population, because they represent you. If there are no suggestions, recommendations forthcoming from the union, we will be left no choice but to determine, administration, a scheme to take that approach, and we will communicate that to you in a broadcast message, as we have. Or we'll have another, town hall meeting and share that information with you. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I have 3 actual questions. The first one is, if I come to work at say 9 o'clock and I have level 1 parking and the only spot I can get is at 400 Farmington Avenue, will there be a shuttle to bring me?
There is. The shuttle system will continue, yes.
Okay, that answers that question. The other one is the new garage that's being built
Garage 2.
is not on here. What
Right.
level will that be?
I'm reserving that. They desire. The initial thought is that all the garages are Area 1. But part of the reason why I'm holding back on that is depending on how all the enrollment occurs and the fact that that garage will be primarily an employee garage, because that's the garage that's tied to the ED. So the first level, which is like a street level of that garage, will be open, free patient parking for the emergency room. The rest of that garage is entirely designated for staff parking. Okay. So we're going to have to wait and see how this all rolls out, and if it makes sense that we really need more Area 2 for staff who are working in the hospital, So I'm just trying to leave that kind of an open so we have an opportunity to adjust.
My third question is, oh no, I forgot what it was. Waited so long to ask.
You want to think about that, and we'll let somebody else, because we're running out of time. Can we get a mic over here? Oh, here you go.
I have 3 questions, okay? Number 1, how do you plan on implementing this on July 1st of this year when it was only proposed to the union as an idea. Nobody even voted on this. They did not give you the okay to do this. They said that they would talk to you next year about this. How can you implement this July 1st?
Well, I guess I would defer to labor management and HR on that, but I believe the answer is we don't believe that this requires negotiation.
It doesn't, wait a minute. You make a lot more money than the rest of us, okay? Now,
you would be surprised.
I know. Then maybe you should be surprised at how much money we make.
So,
according to the chart, the more money you make, the less you get to pay $16 figure, rounded up, for your what comes to convenience parking.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Why is it that the rest of us have to pay so much? If we have to, I don't understand how you can.
We're talking about 98 cents to $12.
Yeah, if I park out in New Britain.
No. If you park in J-Lot.
If I have a parking hang tag, okay, that says park the lot 3, the free parking, and I don't have a spot, am I going to be able to park in area 2? Or am I not, because it's supposed to be area 3 that I paid for? Okay, can you answer that question?
You will park on the road or you will park in area 3.
So you're not going to let us park in another area just because there's no spots where we got a tag?
That's correct. You will call us and we will direct you where to park.
If you
Another question, we only have like 2 minutes.
Excuse me? If your situation that you
wait
choose...
a minute. There's somebody with a mic. Your question.
I remembered it. If you choose, say, even option 2 and you're paying for lot J, and then you find that that's not working, how easy is it for you to change? And say, now I want to pay for lot 1.
It's going to depend on the availability. So, if we have no area 1, then, that would be a problem. If there's availability, the other thing is, we get daily adds and deletes. So, people leave, people come and go. So, you may be on a waiting list for area 1, and then when a spot becomes available, you would have the opportunity to sign up for that.
If you're a 1, can you park in a 2?
Yes. Two cannot park in 1. I'll take one more question.
I have a question. Why do we have to start paying for this when you don't have all the correct and fully answered answers?
We have all the answers with regard to.
Excuse me.
We have all. Can I answer?
With all the respect,
can I answer your question?
I'm not done with my question.
Okay.
With all the respect, you have not answered half of these questions at all, not fully or thoroughly. We do not understand why do we have to pay so much money for parking when we're not guaranteed a parking where we work. I leave my house at 6:50 to get my children to work to get here half hour early so I can walk half a mile to my job. Now you're asking me to park 3 miles away, not to be guaranteed a spot, plus take the shuttle, which the little shuttle here doesn't take more than 16 people at a time. How often are those shuttles are going to be running? How many are going to be running? And why are you telling people that we need to take public transportation to get to work when we're paying already?
We are trying to make all your options known to you. So we are working with Connecticut Transit. We're working with van pool companies and carpool companies to make sure you know what all your options are.
We don't see any options here except get into a lottery or be obligated to pay for a parking spot, which you're not guaranteed. And you're shaking your head yes, because you're...
Well, I'm shaking my head because it's not a surprise, that there isn't joy around having to pay for parking now. But I appreciate your comments and your questions, and please look for more information in your broadcast messages. Okay? Thank you.